Welcome to video number 37 in the Using iTrain tutorial series. My name is Bob. This is part 1 of shortest path selection. Welcome back. So, shortest path. Let's start by looking at what the manual says about it. It says shortest path means all the blocks in the list are sorted in order of their path length to reach them. Now the first block will be chosen unless one is already occupied, then the next will be tried, and so on. It then finishes by saying this is only useful if not all the intermediate blocks in the route are specified. Now that last sentence simply means it is only useful if there are multiple different paths available, and so we haven't programmed a specific path. But there are also a couple of additional points that should be added to this statement. Firstly, when it mentions path length, in this case it means the number of blocks in the path and not the length of the measured path in centimetres. In virtually all other references to path length within iTrain, it means the actual length of the path or track measured in centimetres. But specifically in the shortest path selection, it refers to the number of blocks in the path. Perhaps a more useful name for this selection method would be something like least blocks path, or simply number of blocks. The second point to note is that shortest path selection will only operate correctly with train routes. Its operation is not suited to automatic routing without a route. The reason is due to differences in the way that iTrain makes decisions when using train routes compared to automatic routing without a route. The method that a computer uses to make calculations or to solve problems is called an algorithm. iTrain uses a lot of different algorithms. It uses the same algorithm for an instant route and a train route, but it uses a different algorithm for automatic routing without a route. So we should not always assume that those three types of route will handle a selection option in a similar fashion. When we are using a train route, we have the option to choose the selection method in the step that contains multiple blocks. And the shortest path option in this instance within a train route is a valid option to use. When we are using automatic routing without a route, the selection option is contained in the selection drop-down menu, and this particular option in the stations properties is not a valid option to use with automatic routing without a route. There is a proposal that the shortest path option should be removed from this menu in the station properties, so you may see that in future iTrain updates it is no longer present in this window, but it will remain in the train route window. So the two things to remember about shortest path selection is that path length in this case means the number of blocks, and it should only be used with train routes. With that in mind, let's take a closer look at shortest path selection. It is a rarely used selection option and has limited applications. So why should we bother spending time to understand an option that we may not ever use? Well, as we delve into it, we find that it can tell us some interesting things about the way iTrain works. Things that might help our understanding with other aspects of iTrain. And also, the more we know about how something works, the better chance we have of discovering a use for it. So here's our simple test case. We have a layout which contains a station that has 4 tracks leading into it, all coming from this single track over on this side. I've already created a train route called shortest path. It starts at B1, which is this block here, and the next step in the route is the station. All the blocks in the station are listed down here as usual, and this time we have selected the shortest path option. For this selection option to be active, we need to have a 100% weight at this step, and we've given it a 1 second duration. Then the final step is to return back to B1 from the station, where the route can then repeat itself if we wish to, and in this case we've set the repeat value to 0, so it will continually keep repeating. Now you will notice that each of these paths here has a different number of blocks in it. 1, 2, 3 and 4 blocks. The numbers in these brackets here show the track section length from the end of block 1 to the entry into the station at this line here. The numbers are here just to allow us to easily see whether iTrain is using the shortest path by track length or the shortest path by block. The station itself is set at its default values, including the selection order here. But remember, we will not be using automatic routing without a route. So the settings in this window here are completely irrelevant to the train route that we will be using. Now, an important thing to emphasize is that the path that we refer to when we test for the shortest path is the intervening blocks between our start point and our destination. It does not include blocks at our start point, and it does not include blocks at our destination. It is only the intervening blocks. So in our example here, the intervening section is from the start of the turnout here to the entrance to the station, or entrances to the station, which is at the end of these blocks. And to be even clearer, if we were using a more complex train route, the intervening sections of track need to be considered at each step in the route, and we will talk more about that later. Our train route is set to shortest path, and all of the blocks in the layout are available to use. So when we press the start button to begin the train route, we expect it to be using shortest path selection. And so we should see the path containing the least amount of blocks being chosen, which is this path here with the single block in it, and not the path that has the shortest physical distance, which would be the bottom path. So let's see if that happens. We press the start button, and yes, sure enough, it has selected the path with the single block. And if I stop and start, we can see that that is very repeatable. And if this block was occupied, then it would choose the path with the next highest amount of blocks, which would be the one with 2 blocks, and then it would move to 3 blocks, and then 4 blocks, and so on. And if we allowed the route to fully complete, we'll see that it goes into the block that's been selected. It will then go through its wait period, and then it will return along the path that it entered because it has no other option, obviously. And then when it gets back here, the route would then repeat. So in this very simple example, it's easy to see that shortest path selection is being used to sort the blocks in the station. It's easy to see because there is only one path going to each of the blocks in the station, but that is not always the case, and that is the subject of part 2 of this tutorial, where we will explore a more complex example and learn a little more about routing algorithms. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.